Ilia Topuria just flatline KO'd Charles Oliveira in round 1 of their main event fight at UFC 317 for the 155-pound UFC Lightweight World Championship. Ilia Topuria is now the new undisputed lightweight champion. He's basically a double champ. He vacated the belt at 145 pounds. Now he's won the belt at 155 pounds. He had both belts over his shoulder in the cage after the fight. Paddy Pimblett walked into the octagon and did a face-off with Ilia Topuria afterwards, but I'm here to talk about Ilia Topuria. We have to describe what happened in stages of detail. I can tell you that Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira in round 1 of UFC 317, and you'll be impressed. Then I add another element to it. Ilia Topuria knocks out Charles Oliveira with one punch, out cold, 3 minutes into their fight at UFC 317. Then I add another layer of how amazing this was of a performance. Ilia Topuria stepped in against Charles Oliveira at UFC 317. Oliveira put pressure on him early, got a hold of Ilia Topuria early, had double underhooks on Ilia Topuria very, very early into this fight, went for a throw on Ilia Topuria and attempted a takedown on Ilia Topuria. Ilia reversed the takedown, won the 50-50 because of good hip positioning, ended up on top of Charles Oliveira. Wait, I'm not done. Ended up on top of Charles Oliveira while they were fresh and no one was rocked. Passes Charles Oliveira's guard into side control. I'm not done. Passes Oliveira's guard, a non-unconscious Oliveira, and not wobbled Oliveira like Makhachev did or anything like that. Fresh Oliveira. Ilia passes his guard, takes side control against him, takes crucifix against Charles Oliveira. Oliveira then goes for a leg lock attempt. Ilia escapes that as well, lets Oliveira get back up, and about 30 seconds later, flatline KOs him in the first round. I am predicting Ilia Topuria to win. I know Ilia Topuria is going to win. I picked him to KO Alexander Volkanovski. I picked him to be the first person to KO Max Holloway. I even said round 3, I think. I also have now picked him to flatline KO Charles Oliveira in round 1. I said that. Round 1 KO, flatline KO from Ilia Topuria. I'm predicting it and I'm still shocked by how good it is. That's how good Ilia Topuria is. It's gone beyond the point where you could say, Holloway's going to school him. Volk's going to school him. And there are some people that are still doubting him. Then he impresses you because some people don't think he's going to win. Not me, but some people, rightfully so, were picking the great names that Ilia Topuria has now taken out back to back to back to beat him in the first place. We are now at the point where he's expected to win dominantly, and he's outdoing expectations at championship level. Ilia Topuria is outdoing first round KO win expectations at championship level at 155 pounds. Just flatline Charles Oliveira. I can't believe Ilia Topuria has knocked out back to back to back. Because we're going to have to start having some other discussions here in a second. Ilia Topuria has knocked out back to back to back Volkanovski, Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway for the first time in UFC history, flatline KOs Max Holloway, and has now just flatline KO Charles Oliveira, which has been done before. Not like that. Charles Oliveira has been TKO'd before. I ain't seen him be left flat on the ground on his back like that. He's been wobbled to the ground. He's had a delayed reaction to a knockout. He's had a couple of moments where he's been TKO'd as well. Seeing him get flatlined like that, dude, Ilia Topuria, that's the one thing that I doubted about him moving up to 155 pounds. I put it out there as an idea that maybe, just maybe, his power would, instead of stand out, fit in at the 155 pound division. But no, his power stands out at 55 even more. Stands out at 55 even more. And I thought, people are telling me, dude, Jai Herbert. And it's Jai Herbert. That means nothing to me. No, that means no information to me whatsoever. But the information that it did mean is that was his most devastating KO. And it was at lightweight, where he could put some real power behind his shots. He was small out there. I was worried when the fight started for him because of how small he looked and how much presence Charles Oliveira had. Oliveira started the first round and I thought, hold on a second. That's how I started the first round. I didn't think, oh, Ilia's so comfortable out there. Oliveira tagged him a few times. Oliveira landed a few kicks. It's not like Oliveira never got going. He just got switched off. In round 1, with his family in the crowd, and Ilia Topuria is the lightweight world champion, and I'm going to say this as well, Islam Makhachev, get yourself back at 155 pounds. What do you mean you're moving up to 175 to fight JDM? No, you ain't. They should grab Islam Makhachev by the scruff of his neck and drag him back down to 155 pounds. We need Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev next. But that's not the only thing that I'm going to say here. As a fan of Charles Oliveira for some time, as you guys know that I am. What the fuck are you doing? And I knew this from Charles Oliveira. That's why I picked Ilia to win this easily and exactly the way that he won. I knew this was going to happen from Charles Oliveira. And I knew it, and it hurts more when you know it's going to happen, and it still does. He's wading in on a person who has no distance ability against him and no range on him whatsoever. He's wading into the pocket with his hands nowhere near his chin, reaching. I said all of this. I said all of this in the build-up. He's stepping into elbow range to land his right hand down the pipe, reaching with his hands in the clinch against Ilia while Ilia stings the body and brings punches upstairs to the head. I swear Oliveira got cracked a few times before this and took him okay, but it was like an omen of bad things to come. He's reaching in the pocket for the clinch against Ilia, who's got nukes in his hands. Vicious knockout power. One of the best pocket boxers. No. The best pocket boxer in UFC history. Maybe the best boxer in UFC history. Probably the best boxer in UFC history. And Oliveira is wading towards him, reaching for the clinch, hands nowhere near his chin. And when I tell you, this is my real analysis of this fight. Lightweights have been getting bitched by featherweights for years. This is just a reality, and it's something that I've always kept in mind when talking about these divisions. Bar Volkanovski taking the Makhachev fight on 2 weeks' notice. Ignore that. Look at the first fight with Volkanovski versus Makhachev. Now look at what Ilia Topuria has moved up and done. Now look at what Holloway moved up and did to Justin Gaethje. Now I'll take you back even further. Who was Oliveira? Who was Dustin Poirier? These were former featherweights moving up to whoop on the weak lightweights that were at the top of the division. There's a few people that come through lightweight and make it to the top of lightweight. I completely understand. But it has forever been a division of featherweights moving up there to get better careers and get wins against the lightweights, or featherweight champions moving up and just handling a lightweight with ease. McGregor did this to Eddie Alvarez as well. He's just levels above him. Oh my God, he's levels above him. Maybe that shows how good Makhachev is for Volk in the first fight to not get fraud checked by the smaller man with a lot more skill in a much more skilled division. But Ilia Topuria is a different level, man. Featherweights run the lightweight division, always have, always will. And I bet you, I said this on my live stream, 3 years' time, I can so see this, 2028, 2027, Gene Silver's the featherweight world champion. Moves up to lightweight against who? I don't know who's going to be the champion by then. I could see the same story unfolding again. The same story unfolding again. We get into what's next for Ilia. There's not much to break down in terms of the fight. There is. So, Ilia Topuria is landing his jab immediately. Insane. Insane that he's able to do that. Jabs are something that even if you've got the best jab in the UFC, you might start finding it in round 2 or 3. Okay? If you get your jab established early, there's problems with your opponent's striking. That's my honest opinion. Especially if you're getting your jab going early against Charles Oliveira, who's so much taller and rangier than you. Oh. This is why I picked so confidently that Ilia was going to do this. Charles Oliveira is longer and rangier and he's wandering into in the pocket range with Ilia Topuria. Now, Ilia has established his jab on Charles. Pause. He's established his jab to the body of Charles too. He has found the target. Within seconds of being on the feet with Oliveira, he is finding the target over and over again. Jab upstairs, jab to the body. Jab upstairs. What did I tell you? High and tight guard from Charles Oliveira. The body's going to be open all day long. He'll start to the body. He'll bring it up to the head. He'll knock out Charles Oliveira in round 1 in a few minutes. Charles Oliveira is wandering in. The jab has found you. He's got a shorter reach. He's consistently landing his jab on you, not missing one of them. Maybe he missed 1 or 2. But he's consistently landing the vast majority of the jabs that he attempts on you. You're in range. And he steps in even further to throw a straight right hand way off to the side of Ilia Topuria. It ends up hitting Ilia Topuria in his armpit, I'm pretty sure. And Ilia Topuria just fires a straight right hand down the pipe and knocks out Charles Oliveira in round 1. You want to know why he threw the right hand down the pipe? Because he'd been landing his jab over and over again, and this guy's moving closer towards him. What? It's why I picked Ilia. I'm not taking it away from Ilia now. This is why I picked him to win. But man, it hurts to see. It hurts to see that kind of game plan being used at such a high level in MMA. It hurts to see that level of fight IQ and distance management and understanding of striking in high-level MMA. But you know what it's a joy to see? Ilia's level of game planning. Ilia's level of distance management. Ilia's level of striking ability. That's the treat to watch in MMA. And he is the most exciting fighter to watch on the planet right now. No doubt about that. Every single fight, he's going for war and he's looking for a KO win. And he's going to do it the best way possible. Whether it means second round against Volk, whether it means third round against Holloway, whether it means immediately in the first round against Charles Oliveira, it doesn't matter. He'll find it. That's Ilia Topuria. He's the biggest star in MMA right now. No doubt about it. He is the superstar. Islam Makhachev would get knocked the fuck out by him. If that was Islam Makhachev in the octagon today, and this was Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, I swear to God, Ilia Topuria would have left him out cold in round 1 or 2. And this has only furthered my opinion that Ilia Topuria is the answer to Islam Makhachev. Because, listen, if Ilia went out there, landed a couple of his jabs, and Oliveira decided to enter into elbow range against him because he has no depth perception whatsoever and constantly gets caught on the chin by shots that he shouldn't be getting caught by at high-level championship sport in any way. Rookie stuff he gets hit by every fight, and he's just done it here as well. If he had just done that to Oliveira and just landed a few shots and then knocked him out, I don't know what to feel about a Makhachev matchup. Watching Oliveira have double underhooks on him and Ilia escape that position while being smaller and have better hips than him in the 50-50 where the throw happened, end up on top position, pass his guard while Oliveira's not rocked, take side control over him, get the crucifix position, scramble with him out of that position when Oliveira tries to escape, separate, evade the leg kick and the leg entanglement game of Charles Oliveira, establish a position, get out of it, stand back up, stand Oliveira back up, and then knock him out. That's the evidence we needed to say that he's going to beat Islam Makhachev. And I honestly think the correct take to have is to say that Ilia Topuria beats Islam Makhachev. Now, when it comes to what's next for Ilia Topuria, I don't think Pimblett should get a title shot next. Dana White has said that he doesn't know why Paddy Pimblett was invited to the cage. But Paddy Pimblett gets, Ilia's mentioning Arman's name. This is why either Joe Rogan was told to do this, which I doubt because Dana now said that he shouldn't have been in the cage anyway. Or Joe Rogan just doesn't know what's going on in the sport anymore, which is most likely the case. Arman was in the middle of being called out by Ilia Topuria. Ilia called out others in the crowd, don't get me wrong. He called out Pimblett for sure, but he was in the middle of talking about Arman pulling out with a back injury and very specifically mentioning the back injury of Arman and how he had to pull out. And Joe Rogan goes, "You're talking about Paddy Pimblett, right? Paddy, get in here." And Rogan orchestrates the whole thing. So if Pimblett gets his title shot next, he needs to pay Rogan $1 million. He needs to give Rogan $1 million because Rogan directly got him that title shot by doing that. I don't think Paddy Pimblett should fight for the title next. Arman Tsarukyan's now campaigning for a title shot. We're at a bit of a position right now. They would all lose to Ilia. You have to say that. I do have a take that no one's going to like about this matchup, and it's going to be a problem for people to accept, but I'm just going to keep it real with everyone. I'll say it in a second, though. So, what's going to happen is, the UFC are going to call Gaethje, Arman, and Pimblett. This is what they're going to do, and this is what I would do if I was the UFC. I'd call Gaethje, Arman, Pimblett. I'd probably call them in this order. Arman, Gaethje, Pimblett. Pimblett is going to get offered a title elimination bout and say, yeah, lad, sign me up, lad. Who is it? Gaethje or Arman, lad? He will do that. He was more than ready to take his title elimination bout before this fight was even happened. Before Oliveira versus Topuria even happened. Paddy will say yes. One of Gaethje and Arman will say no. Whoever says yes out of Gaethje and Arman will fight Paddy Pimblett in a title elimination bout, and the winner will be next for Ilia Topuria. Whoever says no, which I sense will be Arman, by the way, and maybe Gaethje, actually, because he's talking about retirement as well. God, this division, man. They've done nothing this year. Gaethje got his win over Fiziev, been sitting on his ass. Arman pulled out in January. That's 6 months ago now. He's been sitting on his ass since then, doing nothing. You have been told by the UFC that you are not getting a title shot next and that you need one more win. Gaethje, Arman Tsarukyan. You both have gone against that. Gaethje was told you need another fight before you get a title shot. You just lost to Max Holloway. I'm going to retire if I don't get a title shot next. Well, you know what? Fucking give Ilia Topuria Gaethje next week. He'll slump him in 2 minutes and flatline KO him. I'm being serious. He will. So maybe just do that anyway in about 2 weeks. And then we'll talk about him versus the winner of Arman versus Paddy in about 6 months. Arman's complaining on Twitter. I even just typed this on Twitter. Arman Tsarukyan is on Twitter. What was he saying on Twitter? Let me find out what it was. He was talking about, I'm next, and I should have been in there instead of Charles Oliveira, and I know that won't happen. This is what Arman Tsarukyan said. It was never supposed to be Charles. I can finish Ilia, simple as that, and he knows it too. That's why he's avoiding the real #1 contender. I then said, bro ruined a whole event by messing up his weight cut. Got told loud and clear by the UFC that he was not getting the next title shot until he fights again. Now he's been sat on his ass since January, accepting no matchups. He turned down Gamrot. He's turned down Fiziev. Silly, shouldn't have been offered them. Shouldn't have been offered those matchups. Still did. That's what they claim anyway. And I said, accepting no matchups, crying for a title shot. Enjoy your #1 contender bout next. These guys have been told to earn their shot, and they're not doing it. If Pimblett gets the shot, it will be because Arman has not done anything, and he's not getting a shot. And Dana White even said at the press conference that the reason why he pulled out against Islam Makhachev is because he was going to miss weight. So he's outed that now about Arman Tsarukyan. There was rumors of that being the case anyway. There was a lot of rumors about that being the case anyway. But now Dana's outed it about Arman, which means Arman's definitely not getting it. Even though he made weight for this short notice opportunity, he's definitely not getting it now. Then they go to the crowd cam. Gaethje's there like this. Arman's there looking off to the side like that, and then he notices the camera's on him and goes... And Paddy Pimblett's, of course, excited as fuck, thinking, oh yeah, lad, this is it, lad. Bring it on, lad. And he's going mental. They bring him into the cage. Ilia Topuria and him go back and forth in the cage. Ilia Topuria ends up shoving him. I don't know, dude. Ilia Topuria is the coolest thing ever in the sport. I think they should do Pimblett versus Arman Tsarukyan for a title shot. Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. Winner of Pimblett, Arman Tsarukyan get a title shot. Winner of Gaethje Hooker can wait for a title shot after that if we can keep the belt active enough. Now is the time for activity. Let's get these other fights made now. So they happen in 8 weeks. So they happen in 10 weeks. So they happen in 12 weeks. I want Topuria back in there before the end of the year. That's what I want. But the problem is that these champions are out scheduling their contenders, because contenders, once they get anywhere in the top 5, sit on their ass and do nothing, because the UFC has been rewarding it over the past 5 years. We'll see what happens. But I don't think any of them beat Ilia. However, one take at the end now that everyone's clicked off that would have immediately disliked if I said this at the start. I will say, I think Paddy's the most interesting matchup against Ilia. Oliveira's got a high and tight guard. He's there to be hit. Gaethje the same way. Wades forward into punishment. Exactly the same situation. I think it would end exactly the same way. Arman's shorter. He's not taking down Ilia Topuria. He's going to get caught on Ilia's level, like Ilia was catching featherweights, over the top of his shots, and cracked and put out. We saw Joaquin Silva land it as well. I know he broke his foot against Jared Gordon and looked shit in that fight. Paddy Pimblett would also lose to Ilia Topuria, in my opinion. It's the most intriguing matchup because he's not going to be in the pocket with him. He's not going to be in distance of him. He's going to be at range, flicking kicks as far away as possible from Ilia as he possibly can. Hope to land a head kick. And if he's going to be in, he's going to be shooting a takedown. So that's the situation right now. And I know that's not a lot of people want to hear that, but I know matchups. Believe me, I know matchups. And Ilia versus Paddy, I'm telling you, will be more competitive than Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. I reckon that will end in the second round. There will be some back and forth moments. Paddy will have a moment on the feet or two. Ilia will have more. Ilia will win in the second round, is most likely how I see that fight going. But styles make fights. I don't see these lightweights giving him any problems. And at welterweight, let him try. Let him try. He's the featherweight champ. Now he's the lightweight champ. If he gets a defense or two here, let's say he defends the belt against a rightful number one contender that might emerge by that time if they take their fingers out their ass, and then defeats Makhachev moving back down, which he will, by the way. Makhachev better pray he beats JDM and stays up at 170 because that's his shot to beat Ilia and his only shot. And if Ilia does that, let him move up. Let him move up. I'm not a fan of the immediate jump up to another division again, but if he gets through a contender and then Makhachev moving down or another contender instead, let him move up. Ilia's the fucking man. Ilia's an absolute G. And Oliveira is wandering into right hook range. He's wandering into elbow range against Ilia Topuria in round one, looking for a straight right hand that, if it did land, would be the most crowded straight right hand you've ever seen in your entire life, because he's literally in, like, Ilia could have tickled Oliveira with his nose in that distance, and he's there with Topuria in round one. Topuria puts him away. The jab has been established on you. In combat world, someone jabbing you in the face over and over again is, got you, I found you, you're right there, I see you, you're right there. That's literally what a jab is in combat sports. Consistently jabbing someone to the body and head and moving around. I see you, your chin's right there. I know exactly where it is for this rear hand that is coming. Oliveira. Right hand, left hand nowhere near his chin. Looks to turn, I guess he's looking to turn it into a left hook and rear back like he's Adesanya against Whitaker in the first fight. Whitaker does not have the punch power of Topuria, dude. Risky fucking move. Adesanya took a punch to give one in that situation. Looks to rear back with his left hook, and his right hand's nowhere near his chin. He gets hit with the left hook as he goes down, out cold. Sad, but was going to happen 9 times out of 10. See you later. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Get Makhachev's scrawny ass back down here, dude. I heard he's struggling to put on weight. Start shedding some of it off again, buddy. Start bringing that weight back down. Topuria's got justice for you. He's got another KO loss waiting for you. Undefeated, 17-0. And if Ilia Topuria beats Islam Makhachev, GOAT conversations begin. He's already in the mix. He's already in the mix. He's in the discussion. He's in the top whatever. I think he's creeping top 5 already with these wins that he's had. Depends how his career ends, obviously. But the wins that he has are insane. Just how good is Bryce Mitchell, by the way? Was landing good shots on Ilia in round 1. Took him down at the end. Just saying. No Oliveira, dude. Bryce Mitchell, different level. Different level, dude. I'm telling you this. But, you know, Ilia's going to be in some real discussions after this. Lucas Tracy is going to maybe consider him the GOAT. I don't know yet. But Lucas Tracy might just say he is the outright GOAT of the sport. I'm not sure. Just warning you guys, this could be a discussion happening. Narrative shifts after UFC 317. He's the GOAT. I can see it already. See you later. I don't know. No one's done it that impressively. Khabib. No, dude, he's leaving him out cold, man. He's flatlining these guys early and easy. It is insane how he's doing them. See you later. And that's a different style as well when he made it easier. The last two were strikers. Volkanovski, Holloway, they're strikers. Oliveira tried to grapple. Done it easier against him. Insane. See you later, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.